Welcome to Through the Grapevine episode 9. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an episode for you today. My word, by George, we've got only us again because we couldn't find a guest. Nobody wants to be on our show anymore.
Oh, well, we had... It's not even like we can pretend we didn't want Dogman on the show because I tweeted about it. This is the problem with like having guests and actually hyping them up beforehand. Is like when they bail on you and they're actually asleep. To be fair, it's like 9 in the morning when where he's from, I think. But there you go. He's not with us. Yep. Surprise! He
sacked us off. But same trio. I mean, I would introduce us. That's the proper way a host does it. But I'm not a proper host, so we're skipping past that and we're going into Contenders information because we got Contenders info, boys. Apparently, I've read a little bit of it, not a lot. Okay. I know that there's teams, academy teams, a lot of prize money. You did a fat YouTube video on this Sideshow.
Got it all
You've
wrong.
Done all the research. You got all the prize money information wrong. But here's your chance at redemption. You can tell us all of the details that are correct this time.
There's
because nobody watches your videos
offer.
Anyway.
That's true. I think this probably has less viewers, to be honest, though. I think it's because we've got Bren on the show. I think if we replaced him...
that gag where I kick you from the call again, because it fucks up everything.
It does. As if we don't have production problems already with me bloody recording this on a laptop and putting Pash's selfies on instead of our faces and stuff.
As if we don't have enough problems. Worse and worse every episode.
It does. It does. In fact, when we first started, I didn't think it could get worse. But at this point, I know that there's a bottomless pit of worse that you can just look down and, hello! And it's just Bren shouting back up at you at the bottom.
With his hoodie wrapped around his face.
Yeah. Yeah. You're only 10% down! Oh, God.
All right, let's get down to it, though, because Harsha, he's a busy man. He doesn't have much time for us plebeians anymore, being the
Apparently he's got a job.
San Francisco Shock. He's got meetings and scrims.
Yeah.
The piece of shit.
Who would have known?
He's got to build a Contenders team, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Leaks.
Can I be on it?
Yeah, you can be on it.
Can the Bren get on it?
Solid.
You've seen my clips. You've tweeted about him. You know how good it is, baby.
I've tweeted about it.
I like how he instantly accepted me on the team, and then you're like Brenji, and how do I let him down gently? How do I be nice to this guy?
To be fair, if he'd suggested any other hero, that was a maybe. But
the Bren heart, they're all time.
I don't want to keep it.
Is unreal.
Brine heart.
He calls it the brine heart because he gets very salty when he just goes in and feeds repeatedly.
Yeah. Not gonna disagree. Let's actually do work. I'd like to do that. We don't have long. We've got like an hour. Maybe.
Speed run.
Probably gonna go over speed running this. Dates. We got Contenders info. We got prize money. News on something called an academy team. Again, I believe that's the Overwatch League teams can actually field teams in Contenders and they get spots. The previous winners get spots. And then we got information of how open teams are going to be coming up into Contenders as well. Whole host of information. You know, Nate Nasser wasn't fucking around when he said Contenders info soon.
Well, no, he was fucking around a little bit because it wasn't that soon, was it?
Mate, I'm just trying to get hired.
Okay. The news came and there was a lot of news, but I think the use of the word soon might have I think he even said very soon, didn't he? It's like using the Valve definition of very soon, I think, because it was still, what was it, like still a month and a half away.
Time.
But it came eventually, and that's all that matters, I suppose. What do you think of the format?
Personally, I think it's better. You have a lot more teams that can at least earn money playing Overwatch. There's a ton more prize money, as you incorrectly discussed earlier.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, the prize money's actually increased pretty largely. The only place that it's gone down is if you were to win first place in Apex compared to first place Korean Contenders, you get less, but that's only because there's more for like the 2nd to 8th place teams in Contenders, and there's less for the Pacific region as well. Which is a bit of a bummer for Ardion, who could have performed in Korea and instead went over to farm all the prize money, and now it's all just been taken away from them. Like, where the fuck is my prize money gone? Can't I just wail on shitters anymore?
Kind of karma.
No, Ardion, you can't.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think format's definitely better. You have more teams that can play in Contenders as well. And you're going to see, I think, the other thing that we haven't mentioned is that there are now academy teams. So you're not going to be seeing Overwatch League teams trying to develop talent, which is, I think, an important thing that probably wouldn't be considered if there weren't, these spots.
Just hit myself in the face with my microphone.
That's karma for punching your mum in the face last episode as well.
That's true, actually, yeah. I didn't punch her in the face, though. I was over-exaggerating when I said that.
Okay, you lightly smacked her.
I lightly said, come on, Mum, I'm recording.
With your fist.
Yeah. And then pushed the door very, very hard.
Okay.
She was desperate to get in the shot.
Harsha, talking about the academy teams, San Fran Shock have an academy team, and how do you feel on a moral, ethical level about the academy teams, including your own, bumping Kungana and Renegades into the trials so that the two of them now have to compete for one slot in Contenders, whereas they would have had, presumably, guaranteed slots in there? Haven't you just wrecked Michael and bloody Mangachu?
The number 2
to be fair, yeah, Michael and I are friends. I do feel a bit bad for him, but to be fair, I think that people are trying to get onto these academy teams as well. Like, even though Kungarna exists and can decide to play to get into Contenders, I think that a lot of those players are probably going to be asking around for tryouts and trying to get on other teams. And the other thing is, I don't think Renegades has any involvement in Overwatch. Like, I don't know if that would have changed if they had the Contender spot, to be honest. So, I mean, it does kind of suck that there's only one kind of method to qualify for Contenders, at least in this first season. But I don't feel particularly bad because it gives more players more opportunities.
Do you think it's problematic? I can't even remember who tweeted about it. It may have been, I don't want to put it in someone's mouth, but it was like one of the players that's kind of dropped off and has been playing, like used to be on our top team and isn't anymore, was saying that it seems a little unproductive to have the majority of the ways to get into Contenders as their like first big season. If we imagine this is like a reboot of Contenders and this is the first real season of it, even though we've already had 2 before, the best way of getting in is to be like scouted for an academy team or trial for an academy team. The best way is not through open and like actually through the system for this first season. That you have to get scouted again. It's like OWL all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you're being scouted from your open performances, from your haste performances, and I guess from the latter as well. But I don't think it like completely invalidates the whole concept of like open division to Contenders to professional player. I think it's more that you just can't play with the same 6 if you'd like to go down that pathway. You look happy.
Honestly, I can't even describe what I've just seen. My dad was waving at me through the window, so I gave him a little glance to see what he was doing. He had a big woolly hat on, dragged down just to his eyes, and was doing dance moves. And I have no idea why. And only now, having looked at the TV, I can realise that he's dancing to a Stromae concert. Apparently a big fan of Belgian music. I thought he was miming sledging. I thought he was trying to get me out there sledging. It's hard work living with your family. Joke. It's hard work living with your family.
Yeah.
Living with yours in particular. Not mine. It's a breeze living with my family.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Hopefully not for much longer, but we'll find out. We'll see that soon enough, won't we? One thing I like about Contenders is the idea that if an Overwatch League team wants a player, they have to give it up, and there's a big buyout as a part of it as well.
There's a buyout? I mean, this is something that I tackled in my video. I think the buyouts are actually going to be lower than the buyouts that people previously had for Overwatch League teams. From what I've heard of the buyouts...
Do they not have a numerical value?
They do.
Yeah.
So the value of the buyout is 1/4 of their Overwatch League salary. So
plus any signing bonus as well.
Right. But in general, this will be a lower number than what buyouts were, at least for large name players in like before Overwatch League even started.
I mean, imagine
was that sustainable? Was the previous buyout sustainable?
It more felt like random numbers, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but it was
to be all over the place.
It was market value, though. It was allowing the market to decide, because if you put your buyout too high, they weren't going to buy the player, and if you put it too low, then the organization's not getting enough, and they're idiots. But for example, if you look at what it does do is stop players getting into contract hell or buyout hell or whatever, where the organization stupidly has their buyout way above market value, so nobody's willing to pay it, so the player can't even get sold properly. In a perfect world, the organization would negotiate with the person wanting to buy the player, and you would come to the middle ground that gets the organization the maximum amount of money to the point where they can still sell the player. That doesn't always happen in a practical environment. It works really well in theory, but not so great in practice. So you have stuff like the rogue players, where apparently their buyouts are a little too high or whatever. But if you take those guys as an example, the rogue players, I think Soon and Unco both said in an interview recently that they get paid less than they currently do when they get paid less now than what they did when they were in Rogue. So imagine, let's imagine that they're on a minimum salary because it makes the maths easier. So if you have a guy on a 50k salary, you have to pay a 12.5k buyout fee to his organization. Even for the people that you would want to be buying out on a minimum salary, that's like a low buyout compared to what people were paying previously. Like you had buyouts in the middle of 2016 for like 25k, for like 40k. These were buyouts for like literally autumn of 2016. They were this kind of level.
Well, you also have to consider is that players are now making more salary, even in contenders than previously, right? So at least for this kind of level of play, right? Because this is the top tier of Overwatch play. So now the org is making even less money, so much in salary. The player might not even get to. Like, there are a lot of things to consider when you're buying out players, both for the org side and for the player side. So I don't know. Overall, I think the org kind of does get the short end of the stick, but it at least gives them an opportunity to kind of develop players and kind of farm them, I guess.
Yeah, but I think to even talk about it as if it's just the raw number is the only thing that matters is disingenuous, because it has so many additional advantages of just laying like this line down that says, right, you have to sell the player. This is how much you're going to get. The player knows where they stand. They're never going to get stuck in contract hell in that sense. They can sign worse contracts that give more power to the organization, because they know that if an owl organization approaches them, they're going to get picked up anyway. For example, you can sign with a worse level of contract in terms of salary. You can sign like a 3-year contract or whatever if you want to for a Contenders team, because you know that that contract is going to be ended as soon as you get into Overwatch League. So if your end goal is getting into the Overwatch League, you don't even really care if you're on some mammoth contract that is going to end up underpaying you, because your end goal is actually not to be with this Contenders team. It's just to showcase your skills and get picked up. So that's fantastic for the players. It's a great rule for the players. For the organizations as well, I think that what it does is it sets your minimums very clearly defined. Like, you know what you're going to get for every player. It's not so much of a risk. The player can't just wait until they're out of contract and like deliberately circumvent the fact that they're in contract, because the Overwatch League teams, they know what they have to pay, and they know they know like who they're going and dealing with. So you don't have to do this dodgy stuff where you'd have to like just wait until the player was released as a free agent and then pick them up. You know where everything is. So I think it has benefits outside of the raw number for the organization in terms of the money they're getting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. I'm in agreement. Right, let's move on. We're on a tight schedule here. The conductor wishes us to come along. And you were talking about French people. You were talking about Rogue earlier. So let's talk about Eagle Gaming. There's the next little leeway on the Brennan Express. Please leave your feedback at the end of it, and we'll talk about them now. So a lot of French people. Take that in what way you will.
Great.
Sorry, Antoine.
level of Bren analysis, absolutely insane. This is a full French team. His first point is a lot of French people. A lot of French people in this team.
I mean, I'm just briefly looking over this roster now.
The issue is he's not wearing any glasses, so he can't read.
I actually can't read. My glasses broke.
What happened to your glasses?
I was playing a fat game of Dota.
Dota, very strenuous, high contact game. Impact.
Because listen, right? It was Christmas Eve. I was playing a fat game of Dota with the normie friends, as they're known.
That's a Christmas tradition in our house as well.
It is, yeah. It's a Christmas tradition. Every Christmas, we all get together and play 5 mans on Dota, at least until they have to go. So this is like one of the last 5 months we actually played, and it was a fatty. It was an hour-and-a-half game, multiple comebacks throughout it, up and down. It might as well have been the TI 5 finals. I'm telling you now, it was ridiculous. And then by the end of the night, I was dripping with sweat, absolutely dripping. My brow was.
Your glasses aren't waterproof. Is that where this is going?
And then I just took my glasses off to get a good night rest, and they just fell to pieces.
It doesn't make any sense, does it?
You could have avoided the entirety of that preamble and just say, I was going to bed one day and drop my glasses.
I didn't drop them.
What did you do? What did they slid off your face?
I took them off my head like this. I took them off my head, put them on my desk, and they just went like that.
There was no drop involved. There was no impact. You put them down on the desk in the same way. I literally put them down on the desk
before, and they just fell to pieces. Like if we get a close up, you can see like there's a little ting there.
A hinge, I think they're called.
Yeah, a hinge. Yeah, and it snapped off internally.
Okay. But you're saying that was just done, a freak act of God?
Yes, exactly. It was.
Jesus is telling you to get contact lenses.
Yeah, and there's another story as well, but I won't do that because I believe some people actually want to hear about Overwatch when they tune into this podcast.
They want to hear about the French.
I actually doubt that.
So here's my thoughts on this roster, right? Leaf.
Do you want to read out the roster? That would be a good way to
help. Nico.
Are we taking turns? Do I read the next guy?
Nico. Crowley. Dogs. Keep. And Pipu.
Salad drizzler, please.
Pass the salad drizzler.
Pass the salad drizzler, you dribbler.
Again, another euphemism in our house.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what that actually means. But the French, as they're known,
big salad drizzlers themselves.
Yeah, this roster, are they missing anything here? It doesn't really look it. I mean, so how do you feel about the support to this team actually? So from Contenders, because you did all the analysis for Contender Sideshow for the EU side. I did all the casting of it. I wasn't too impressed by these two French support players.
I thought Heap was good. I thought Heap was pretty good. He was all right. The thing was, he was playing a very supportive style because he was playing Ana for most of the time, I think. Because they were playing these Reinhardt Zarya compositions. He was just trying to keep them alive. And Pipu isn't really appealing Zarya. Appealing Lucio.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Wins in so many ways. He's French, for starters, as Bren likes to point out. Always identify when someone's French.
Always point him out.
He calls for the team. He's apparently a very intelligent French player. I think the Rogue guys previously were trying to get him as a coach, but he didn't want to. He wanted to play. And he doesn't have as big a mechanics or doesn't seem to be as focused on the appealing aspect of playing support and helping out his other support player. More focused on like leading the team and setting up plays or whatever. But he had a reasonably good performance, being able to stay alive, playing a much more solo style and keep everybody up and using his nano boost correctly and stuff like that. And actually seems to have a decent Zenyatta as well. I think he could be pretty good. The support duo is not going to be the main focus of the team, but I don't think it's going to be a crazy weakness either. It kind of depends how Pupu plays.
Okay.
So I didn't actually see this, but will Nico be playing DPS?
Yeah,
because they have Crew as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Crew will be playing Flex.
Yeah, I believe Crew will be playing the Flex DPS. Like he plays Pharah, Genji, stuff like that. I think. I'm not actually sure whether he's going to be playing Genji, but I think Nico's going to be playing the majority of the hit scan stuff. So stuff like Tracer, McCree. Maybe he'll flex over to Genji. Maybe they'll have like a flexible Genji where both of them can take it. But I believe Nico's going to be playing the majority of the hit scan stuff. He used to be a hit scan player before he joined Rogue, I think. And he certainly played hit scan in previous games. He was a really strong hit scan player in TF2. And he's got a crazy work ethic. He just grinds all the time. I think it gets to his head. It makes him mental angry, but he just plows straight through it. He's got a very good attitude. He's probably going to be very good at hit scan DPS.
I mean, the team seems at least good for Contenders. It does seem kind of like a straight downgrade from Rogue, but they'll be playing along players and kind of playing presumably a different style because you don't have AKM, you don't have Unko. Which is actually a curious omission. You don't have AKM when AKM is available.
Yeah, I think this is a very obvious exclusion. Like, anyone who looks at this roster and thinks it's going to be kind of Rogue 2.0 or whatever, Soon and Unco have already gone to LA Valiant, and AKM... Thank you. AKM is, I think, almost too good for this team. I think he's just waiting to be picked up in the mid-season by an Overwatch League team. Because there's definitely going to be teams who want him because of what he can add. He's like certainly has been a top 5 DPS player in the world. Some would argue one of, if not the best at certain times in certain metas, DPS player in the world. He's got a shallower hero pool than some. It's kind of niche, but there's no doubt in his ability on stuff like McCree, Widow, Soldier 76 is fantastic. Could play actually a range of heroes like that.
This is actually a point I wanted to discuss. I don't know, like at some point in the show, but basically, do you see room for people like AKM and Adam and Fact Fiction, Wolf, and all these known quantity players that are very good, Owl level probably? Do you see room for them in Contenders when, for instance, we know that Contenders is starting in March, right? So this also seems to overlap with the mid pickups for Overwatch League. So there's a chance that that these guys get drafted into Overwatch League. You get a minimum, or like a really minimal buyout, because first of all, these players kind of demand high money, right? They're very good players, so you would kind of expect them to be getting pretty decent salaries, and also you can't really expect too much of a buyout from this like 1 quarter rule, right? So do you see room for players like this in Contenders, or do you think they should just kind of skip out?
The thing is, you're taking a risk if you don't sign to an organization. Like, yeah, you might be a slightly better prospect. For example, if AKM doesn't sign to a Contenders team, it's maybe a slightly better prospect that the Overwatch League team doesn't have to drop, say, what would it end up being, like 40k or something? Is that even right? Yeah, maybe it'd be something like 40k for AKM if you actually bought him at full price or something. You'd have to pay a 40k buyout fee. Probably a little bit lower than that. I'm not sure.
25 to 40 probably.
Yeah, so say if you had to pay this kind of price, I think it's probably worth it for AKM, Fact, whatever, all of these players to join Contenders teams anyway. Because if you don't get picked up in the mid-season, if there just isn't a team looking for your specific role, even though you're an incredible player and could fill roles on many different teams, if they aren't looking for you, they're probably not going to drop like the, 150k a year salary if they're... I phrase this very badly. They have to pay the 150k a year salary to you anyway, so it's not going to make that much difference if they have to pay another 40k to the organization or whatever. They have to be looking actively for you anyway if you're going to join the Overwatch League. And if they're looking actively for you and they need you to fill that gap, they'll pay the buyout. If they're not looking actively for you, then the lack of a buyout is not going to sway them to pick you up, because they still have to pay you a huge amount of money anyway to pick up. Or you can join for like a 50k salary or whatever, I suppose. But you'd probably get more money from a Contenders team than a minimum salary Owl, because they know that they can flip you for a crazy high price. Because if you get picked up in the mid-season or for season 2, you're going to have probably a pretty high salary, and so you're going to have a high buyout fee. So players like this that have big name value or proven, or they think they'll be able to sell them to Overwatch League teams, should be able to demand higher salaries from Contenders. So from that period in March, you'll be able to get, or possibly, you know, like whenever you sign the contract, basically, whenever you start playing with them, you'll be able to get like, 5k a month maybe.
So these rules where our teams can buy out Contenders players, does it have to be at the end of the Contender season, or can it be any time?
I think it could be. I think it overlaps specifically. Like, I think they've scheduled Contenders in a way where it wouldn't really interrupt Contenders. It has to be that way because week 5 onwards in Contenders, as it was season 1, you can't change the roster. There's a roster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, there's the only downside is that we've to conclude this conversation topic and move on. The only downside is that you have a buyout, but even then, that's not really a big issue for these Overwatch League teams in the first place. You know,
if they want you, they're going to get you.
Spot. Exactly. So realistically, they should be just joining Contenders teams.
I think so, yeah, because this clause where they can just join the Overwatch League team. I mean, if I was a Contenders team, I want to sign these guys to like meaty contracts because they're going to net me a really high buyout if they end up getting flipped in the mid-season or at the end of the season. So I think it's a win-win for these players to be involved. I think it would be kind of, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like you would misunderstand how the market works if you feel like reducing your buyout is worth the risk of maybe missing out. Because if you miss out on Contenders and you don't get signed for Overwatch League mid-season,
then you're screwed. Yeah.
When have you played? You haven't played for like 9 months by the time it gets to the end of it. Who are you even playing with as well? Because everyone else is in Contenders.
Fini. Dunzo. All right, next team. Moving on. Those guys. That is a literal team. I'm not just saying those guys as it is. More Euros. Bok, Crusade, Funny Astro sub.
Yeah, I think he's a sub for the team as well. This team, I mean, a lot of these teams that we're going through here as well, we should explain, are not like set in stone. They're either like rumblings and leaks, or we've seen them in previous tournaments, or they've signed up to Open on Battle Fee or whatever that website is. But they're our best guesses for what some of the top Contenders teams might look like. And this looks like a pretty decent team, actually. Not really sure who's going to be playing for all of the positions. I think they're still trialing DPS and flex positions or something. We've seen a couple of different people on those slots in like different screenshots that people have taken of scrims or the battle finds, stuff like that. But it looks like a fairly decent roster.
I mean, we know all of the players are top contenders, at least 4 contenders.
Yeah, they've got fusions on tank as well. Flex, people have seen Hafikul and Henzu both trialing for the team. Craggy has been playing DPS. Interestingly, Craggy actually had a leaked email while he was streaming. Did you see this? I think it was posted to Reddit as well. There was like, thanks for your application, or something like this. Thanks for your application to be the Spitfire Academy team. Unfortunately, we can't get back to you at the moment. It was something like that, but in Danish. So perhaps we'll see these guys represent Cloud9. Although the organization did say they'd want a number of, what did they say? Players. UK players. But Funny Astro and Fusions are both UK, so you never know. But a lot of these teams will be trying to find academy positions, and of course there's only one in Europe. There's only Spitfire. So if you want to play in Europe, I guess everyone's going to be applying for Spitfire.
I'd like to know where Craggy ends up, because I think he's an insanely talented player, and he's really young, so it's like kind of the perfect combo for contenders.
Yeah, but this looks like a pretty decent team as well. We saw Tsani trialing for the last DPS spot. I haven't actually seen anyone else trying, but I assume that they're going through a couple of different people.
Yeah.
It looks like a good team. Apparently their results have been very good within Europe as well. So this could be one of the top contenders teams coming into it. Depending on who they pick up for the flex and DPS positions, I think.
Why has your mic just gone up in volume?
I heard that too.
I have no idea.
It's back to normal.
Heavily increased. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, any final thoughts on the team itself? They seem like they're all decent players from what we know.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, go ahead.
I think Bokken and Crusade are really good supports. I think the supports and main tank are the most difficult. Actually, maybe flex rather than main tank. Are the 3 hardest spots to fill on any contenders teams, because all the best supports got picked up for Overwatch League pretty much, and you don't get that many kind of upcoming supports. Most of the absolute nuts players tend to be on the DPS positions, and you plug them in and you teach them a bit of teamwork. Normally, like the support players that come up need a lot of experience before they end up being some of the best players. And Bokken's already shown in 1-2-3 that he's a really good player. Crusade is also very good, and we've seen.
What team did Crusade play in before while the contenders
played for Laser Kittens, but I don't think he actually, if I recall correctly, I don't think he played any matches.
Before that, he played for Cyclones.
Right,
he was playing for a long time with that team, and they were at the top of Europe for a while.
He was good on, Cyclones was a top-notch EU team.
Yeah.
Then he just sort of fell off a little bit. He was one of the players who I actually was thinking of the other day when I was wondering
in the shower
when he was in bed,
slowly massaging his body
in the shower. Just Crusade, where are you?
Crusade,
where are you?
Is that the one with the capital D at the end of his name?
Yeah.
Capital D.
Just thinking of the D.
Yeah, only the best on Through the Grapevine. Anytime, guys. You can make
juvenile jokes are our forte.
How much time do we have? Not long. Let's move on to the next team. Cruz's team that he's actually making it, but it's just titled Cruz's team.
Yeah, what's the
writer?
What's the team called? Have they got a name for it? I can't even remember.
Oh, as far as I know, no. They posted. No. I'll go check Cruz's Twitter.
Yeah, they posted the team. Didn't they post the final roster or something?
Yeah, they posted the roster. So it's him.
It's finalized? Is it?
Yeah. It's himself, no. Finzi, Tonic, Ep, Shax, and Visility.
Oh, Visility, yeah, he was
Visility.
Yeah,
he was.
Morty's going to be coach.
Yeah, so I think this should be a really strong team. I mean, this has got the name power as well, I think. And again, it's got some really talented people on difficult to find roles. Cruz used to be a very good support player. I'm not sure whether he still will be. This was back a long time ago. When was he one of the top
This
Lucios?
I mean, literally Apex Season 1.
Yeah, like ages ago.
Autumn
but he's been trialing for OWL teams as Lucio.
The other thing to consider, though,
it might have just been one OWL team, but still.
Well, the other thing to consider is that Lucio is not the only support we're going to be seeing. In fact, a lot of the meta seem to be Mercy Zenyatta, so he might end up playing a lot of the. I would assume the Mercy. In
I also think that a lot of these teams will not be picking up like main Mercy players or people who are fantastic at Mercy, because I think a lot of them will be hedging their bets that Mercy just gets wrecked into the ground at some point before March, because it's unusual to have Mercy in the meta for so long, and with all of the kind of public dislike of the hero, to be honest, it's not even like some people say that Mercy's crazy overpowered. She isn't that overpowered compared to some of the other heroes in the game as well. It's just that people hate playing against it, and really her abilities are very fight defining as well, right?
It's become more of like a must pick than like overpowered pick, whereas like I don't know, she just gives you too many advantages that you wouldn't otherwise have.
It's no different from when Anna was in the metagame and she was the must pick with the triple
a bit like that, yeah.
But the issues I have with her, at least, is Resurrect as a mechanic is very unfun to play against.
Yeah,
like when she turns into a moth and just suddenly I'm invincible, unlucky. Unless you've got a tactical visor or a well-timed self-destruct or a high noon, you're not getting me.
Oh, you can
aim. It's pretty much a lost fight.
No, nobody bothers to hit her. Like you say aim. Are you baiting me? Have you just triggered me?
Just a little bit. Just a little.
Baited me, haven't you? Okay. All right. Hookline sinker.
Nearly knocked down my wardrobe.
I thought you were going to take another
knocked the salad dressing all over, didn't I? No, so I think the two supports for this team, Cruz and Ebbs. Ebbs is a pretty good support player. Who was he trying for? A while back.
He played on like Red Reserve. Other
after Red Reserve, he joined. Was it? Did he join E United for a while to replace Boombox after the left? Oh, it was Cyclowns. That's what it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he joined Cyclowns for a while and looked pretty decent. He was trying to replace Boombox, but he still looked pretty good. Tonic is excellent. I think Tonic is one of the best tanks that hasn't been picked up for Overwatch League. So Tonic and Finzi together will be a great duo. And then they've got Shax and Visility, two players that I'm not very familiar with, but are apparently pretty good up-and-coming DPS players. Shax, I think, played for Copenhagen Flames, the Danish team, and Visility, what did he play for?
World Cup. He played on Netherlands in the World Cup. I don't think he's played anything as far as he was on Mosaic as well.
Yeah, he was on like an open team or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, Mosaic never played though, so he got cut from that. So I don't know. Who knows what went on?
Would you still sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say that he did look pretty good on the Genji during World Cup at least, but that was World Cup.
So I'd make an argument that it's more of a priority to pick up very good tank and support players compared to your DPS players. And would you say that's still the case even now, even though we've shifted a few nerfs in the direction of Mercy, not heavy nerfs, but still, like, would you say that's still the case even now?
Well, I would tend to agree, just because it seems like top tier support and tank players tend to be more rare, whereas I feel like it might just be because the population tends to like play DPS more, like more people when they try the game out, they start playing DPS, right? So I think that more and more DPS players come up, whereas the other roles are a bit more rare, at least.
I think they're also more team based, so like you can get better at DPS in a ladder situation without as much scrim experience, so you get a higher turnover of these kind of bananas ladder heroes who are just really good at aiming and positioning themselves and getting tons of kills and stuff. and then you work them into a system and it works out. But it's difficult to get really good at support or tank without playing it in a scrim environment. So I think you get less up-and-coming players because they can't get the same kind of experience through the ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the ways that I'm kind of looking at these Contenders teams as well is thinking, if you don't have a tank or support that I either recognize or know that is fairly decent, I think you're probably going to have a bad time. But some of the teams just have solid all-round players.
Yeah.
Or have utterly unknown players that presumably have performed well in scrims.
All right, next team, Gigantti. The new Gigantti that's being picked up. There's a few leftover players that didn't get picked up in Owl, which was actually quite shocking to me. Davin, Zappis being the two. Are those the two? Yep.
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are the only two.
I'm surprised
Gigantti.
that Davin didn't get picked up, because some teams were really wanting Traces. And he had a really good performance.
One of the saddest things to me is that when you enter the stage from backstage, there are portraits of people all along the walls at the studio, and right next to the stage there's just a picture of Zappis giving a thumbs up. It's just depressing.
It won't be long.
To be fair, a German player called Kratos is another one of the pictures. So I don't think they really chose the pictures based on like who the best players in the world were, or stuff like this, or the legends of the Overwatch League up on the wall. It was just who pulled a nice face at the camera, wasn't it? And Kratos was like, eh. So he ended up winning. But yeah, I agree. When you see Zappis' face up there, he's been left out, poor guy.
Probably the two players that I expected pretty much the majority of Gigantti, all of them of Gigantti, to get picked up by our teams.
Yeah.
Which is why I was actually pretty shocked when we were speaking to them at Contenders at the playoffs at the end of it, in between getting our eyebrows waxed and waxing ZP's leg. We found out that some of them weren't playing in
a memory that will forever be seared into my brain.
Lovely night, lovely evening. I ruined a lot of decks of cards that night. A lot.
It's true. I'm not giving any more information. I think we should just leave it purposely vague.
We should just leave it very vague like that. But I did apologize to them on Twitter afterwards, like in a private message, because I felt so bad. I literally brought the Gloucester to LA that night.
The Gloucester.
You can take the boy out of Gloucester.
But no, Gigantti. So few players. Admittedly, not familiar with a couple of the names. LH Cloudy.
Yeah,
no, that's how you say his name. Ripper, Pox, Tapelmassa.
Yeah, well, Pox used to play for Is it Cyclones? I think it's Cyclones that Pox used to play for. Yeah, am I mixing up a different team? Pox was the Finnish.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Genji.
Yeah.
Pox was the Finnish Genji guy that played with Cyclones. I think they replaced him with Destro or something just before an event. Maybe they played together. Honestly, my memory's a little hazy of that time, but Pox has certainly had high-level experience before. I remember him struggling a little bit on Diva, playing Soldier 76 to a reasonable degree, and his Genji was actually pretty good. And I wondered where he had gone, actually, because he seemed like a natural pickup for other Finnish teams, but for some reason had been out of the limelight for a while, so it was nice to see him back on Gigantti. This again is a rumor or a leak or something that we got given. I think this is the roster. LH Cloudy and Reaper have both been announced by the organization. Those were former ENCE players, the tank and the flex support. Apparently they're nutty. I never really watched ENCE. The only time I watched ENCE was in the finals when they played against Gigantti, and they got absolutely crushed. And so I really wasn't watching ENCE. I was more watching Gigantti to see like what their form was like and how they were playing. Didn't really pay much attention, but according to people who follow the scene, the tier 2 or 3 or whatever we're in now, scene, they're pretty good players. So
I tend to think that the org, or I mean, it's not the org because this kind of followed Zappis and Fraggy around their entire career. But it seems like one of those two seems to be a pretty good judge of, I don't know, mechanical skill, at least within the Finnish scene, because they literally found Big Goose, who I don't think was on anybody's radar at the time. Shaz was at least a bit of a known quantity, but like he like really came into the limelight when he was on Gigantti. Yeah. So they seem to be pretty good, at least talent scouts.
Well, also Davin. I mean,
Davin as well.
Davin was playing really well for Cyclones, but he was playing a very aggressive style. they called him Big Dick Davin, right? And then you see him play for Gigantti, and it's a completely different style. He's very much passive. He's like he's trying to stay alive as much as possible and just getting the cleanup kills and everything and trying to make percentage plays. That was really good. Like, I think it's the combination of Zappis and Fraggy were very good at creating systems for the team to work around. We'll see if Zappis is able to replicate the same kind of thing. But I have pretty high hopes for this Gigantti roster. As you said, they're pretty good talent scouts over the course of Overwatch. They've been able to do good things with their teams.
All right. Mosaic Esports. I was gonna throw shade at esports names, but I realized it's probably not a good idea. So we'll just talk about the team instead. Christopher Valutaya, Fisher,
Emil.
Mate, that's a real name. That's not even something Korean. That's a real name, Emil. People have that name.
Ludi.
I have met people named Emil.
Yeah.
Emil.
Your mum could have called you Emil, and people would walk up to you and look at you. To be fair, it might even be a better name than Bren.
Fuck off. What are you talking about? Fuck off, kid. No, get the fuck out of my podcast. I don't my end anymore. Right, Christopher though. God's gift to UK esports, apparently. I dished this out to a few people, mainly just Mikey A, but Christopher's one of the mans who actually does deserve it because he's a pretty fatty tank player. DPS wise, Fisher and Valu, again, two players that I rate. Valu didn't have too high of a performance in Contenders.
Probably his worst performance today.
I think that was because his team was shit in the bed as well, though. Because Valu normally, I think, played more of an individual kind of style, and when they were playing triple DPS, he'd be like really hard diving in. And then you saw him playing Contenders, and he's just always shooting the diva and always trying to get the kills on the tanks and stuff. And when their team's not playing well, a Tracer's not going to stand out like, oh, he just 1v1 wrecked a diva. It's like, okay, he wasn't playing the flashy style that I think he used to play a little bit more. And because United were playing so badly at being able to bust the tanks and actually play as, is it Papa Smith who likes to call it front to back Overwatch, where they got rid of the tanks and got the picks in that sense, I think Valu looked worse. When you look at how he's played for the entirety of the rest of joining Overwatch, and then in previous games as well, I think he's a very good pickup, and you could expect consistently good performances from him.
It is weird to see him separated or divorced from the rest of the old United members. He's been on... It didn't even start in Overwatch. He was on teams with them since, like, what was it, Battlefield or some other shooter. But,
yeah, they were playing Battlefield 4 together, and I think they played other stuff before that as well for quite a long time, many years.
I do think that Fisher and Valutaya is a pretty good duo, though. Like, both of them, like, borderline Overwatch League level players, at least when signings were happening, right? And now they're probably going to be at the top of the Contenders, at least, unless some new talent just rises out of nowhere.
This, to me, is the team with the most name value, maybe, maybe Eagle Gaming, actually, has got a lot of big French players in it. Cruz's team's got a lot of fairly large names in, but Mosaic has got 3 big players in the tank of both the DPS positions that I think a lot of people wouldn't have been surprised to see picked up by Overwatch League teams. They wouldn't have been the best players in the Overwatch League, for sure, but people would not have been surprised to see them be picked up by teams possibly as secondary players or in some cases as primary players. Christopher's a very good tank. He's shown that many times before. Got quite an aggressive, brain-heavy style.
Cerebral.
Yeah. Emil is the off-tank that he's playing alongside. Emil played with Clockwork in the team. Did he play on Gale Force Esports or something before they formed FNRGFE?
For like a month or something like that. Yeah. He played for a lot of teams, actually.
Clockwork said that he has the best Soldier 76 aim he's ever seen on a human being or something. That sounds like slight hyperbole to me, but he does have a good Soldier 76 from what I remember. But his Diva seemed like it was okay, but Chris had a recent interview where he said he's working very well with Emil. They go for similar dives, so they're probably going to play quite an aggressive duo style between the two of them, or rather when Emil plays any kind of off-tank. So I think this has the potential to be a pretty good team. And Kodak, who got kicked from 1-2-3 just as they started to become really good. Yeah, he got removed and Hafikul joined.
How well was he playing beforehand?
he was their off-tank player specializing in Roadhog and stuff like that, and played a little bit of D.Va, but he wasn't that good at D.Va, so when the meta kind of definitely became D.Va's like a must-pick, they ended up removing him, I believe. But he used to be a support player, and he's playing support on this team as well.
Didn't they remove him while he was on holiday?
Yeah, I think they did. I think Hafikul proper snaked him, actually.
Massive snake play.
You're right, he was in like Italy or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Kodak's just chilling on a beach, like, how's it going?
Checks his phone. He's like, "What? You're
DM from
the 123 Discord. What?
DM from Hafikul. Get wrecked, mid-tier nerd. Just piece it.
Mid-tier nerd.
Rolls past on one of those. What do you call the ski rider things?
I thought you were gonna
not ski rider. What do you call them? Like, you're in the water and you're
jet ski.
Off. Jet ski. Ski rider, jet ski, pretty similar. As Happy rocks up on a jet ski.
At him.
Yeah. As he whizzes past.
Sounds like Happy. Yeah.
It does sound like him.
And then
the true real story of how Kodak got snaked.
Ludi seems to be, I would say, like, he seems to be, or have a positive impact on all those teams he's at least been on, from to my knowledge at least. He was on Toronto Esports and they had an uptick in performance in Contender Season 0. He was on Tempo Storm for a bit, and admittedly they didn't qualify for, I think that might have also been, my timelines are just fucked up, mate, but from what I remember, he at least had like a somewhat positive impact on all those teams. Like, I can't really say much more because he hasn't had too much like top level experience, but he should be a decent addition.
Yeah, I think the supports are definitely the unknown of Mosaic Esports. We'll see how they perform with Kodak and Luddy, but in general, I think this should be a pretty solid team. I'm not sure it has the same skill ceiling as a lot of the others, even though they've got really good players on there. But I think, for example, Cruz's team, possibly those guys, Eagle Gaming might have higher skill ceilings, but a higher chance of underperforming. Whereas Mosaic just looks like a very solid roster to me.
So have they have these academy teams picked up entire rosters yet?
I don't believe so. I don't think any academy team has actually
is there a chance
announced
that these teams could get picked up by academy teams?
Yeah, there is.
I mean, currently all the ones we've been through are European, and there's only one European academy team, but there's nothing to say that they couldn't get signed by a North American academy team.
I mean, we're just doing Harsha's prep work for him.
Well, man, I got more prep work to do after this, but what I was going to say is that it'd be weird to sign to an org like Mosaic and then go from there to an academy team, but I guess it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, if they've signed to a Mosaic, presumably it's for X amount of, like, at least a year's contract, which is definitely going to cover Contenders, so they're not going to move laterally. There's not like a clause in your contract that says you can get picked up for any academy team for free. It only works with the actual Owl teams, so
yeah,
I wouldn't expect to see teams even really shuffle between rosters that much in Contenders, because I think the Contenders organizations are going to try and lock them in for longer periods of times. I think it's going to be going up into Owl that's the main route if you want to change teams or rebuild.
Okay.
We've been joined by Little Black Riding Hood.
Little Pump, as I know.
Little Pump.
That was me. I did the Gucci Gang. Want to hear my rendition?
Yeah, go on then.
I didn't think the show could get worse.
I told you, it's a bottomless well. With Bren's rendition of Gucci Gang at the bottom. I want to hear it.
Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. Gucci
Lyrical
Gang.
genius, those Gucci Gang members, aren't they?
My bitch love do cocaine.
It's just fantastic, isn't it?
I buy a bitch. No, I don't buy a. Let me get the genius lyrics.
Okay, this is where we've gone. We don't even have Mr. X on the podcast, and you're chanting Gucci Gang.
Gucci Gang,
Gucci
Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang.
I can see why you needed the lyrics to remember this one.
Spend 3 racks on a new chain. Woo! My bitch love do cocaine. Woo! I fuck a bitch. I forget her name. Brr! Yeah. I can't buy a bitch no wedding ring. Woo!
Matt's gonna be delighted.
And that's And that's my rendition of Gucci Gang. Probably say that I don't endorse these misogynistic lyrics.
Okay, sure. You just derive entertainment value from them.
Yeah.
Likewise, I don't
just appreciating it as a
I
form
don't
of
endorse committing suicide by wrapping mic cables around your neck, but again, hope to derive some entertainment from them.
What do you think about bazooka puppies?
Gucci Gang? No.
So you got Nesh, Danye, Mete, Meza, Mono, Watio.
Yeah, I've never seen the support players play for this team. It's more of an unknown for me. I've actually never seen Danye play either, but he rated really highly on the ladder.
Danye. Everyone rates him.
Everyone. No, they actually do, yeah. But I don't know what team he was playing in before. I don't think
I wasn't joking. I wasn't making a joke.
Yeah. No,
Please take me seriously.
I am. I
always demand to be taken seriously. My shot.
Nesh and Danye should be a really good DPS duo. And they've already got the tank synergy from Meza and Mete, but I always thought that they weren't the best in the world when they were playing with Bazooka Puppies before as well. I can see this being a middling roster, but perhaps they're going to be good.
It doesn't seem too different, honestly, from... I mean, even though they've changed many of the players, it's too different from the last Bazooka Puppies roster in terms of like potential, in my opinion. Although Nesh, when
they did play better when he did play with Nesh.
Yeah, he actually went off, like, he played really well. He even had that one map where he hard carried on Widow on Gibraltar. Yeah, I don't remember who that was against, but
he's one of those players that I'm surprised isn't in Owl.
Well, he took like a 6-month break from Overwatch or something like that, and then everybody just kind of forgot about him.
I'll tell you who that was probably against, actually, since you brought it up. I think that was against Cloud9. I think that was when Cloud9 kept picking Gibraltar, because it was like, dude, they're incredible at this map in scrims. It's like, you literally lost the Bazooka Puppies on Gibraltar. Why do you keep picking this map? What are you doing? Like, no, honestly, we're really good at this map in scrims. Okay, you're not good at this map in tournaments. Stop picking it.
You know who Wario reminds me of? Reminds me of that in
Wario?
No. The shit prequel character from Star Wars, Watto.
Who is that? Which one's that?
He's the guy that owns that station on Tatooine. He's the one that enslaves Anakin.
Oh, he's the guy with the
elephant,
long
elephant.
dangly nose. He's not really an elephant, is he?
I mean, yeah.
He's got an elephant trunk, though.
It's more of a phallic object.
You know what? If you say his name quick enough, have you seen the Ugandan action movie? I don't know the name.
One of my favorites. One of my favorites.
I don't know the name of it, but there's like loads of memes referencing it. And one of them sounds like the guy is saying his name really fast. So he goes, "What idiot!" Like that. Thought I'd put that little reference.
What am I supposed to do with this information? How is this going to help me in my life?
Watch the film.
Does this add any kind of benefit to my existence as a human?
Harsha's got to go in 7 minutes.
Okay, and so you thought you would fill the time with saying, if you say Wario very quickly, you sound like a Ugandan.
Wario! Yeah.
All right.
Like it sounds like a little soundbite from the movie.
Okay.
This show's tragic.
I now know how to replicate Ugandans if they're saying very specific phrases.
There you go.
I suppose in action movies.
Nesh, I rate highly. Danye apparently is a nutty man on the ladder. Mete Meza, no complaints with them. I'd say they're average. Any complaints there? Would you call me out on that?
Meta is very highly rated by some people, but I've never personally seen it outside of his crazy diva bombs. But maybe on a better team, he would perform very well. I know the Winston's Lab guys rave about him. I'm not sure why. Maybe he has good stats.
But that's it. Finny on that roster. Harsha, you want to say anything?
No.
I'm just trying to rush this as hard as possible. It's a real problem. I keep getting pinged.
Somebody's trying to distract you.
Yeah, my Discord's pinging me. And it's just like they're sending me random pictures. Anyway.
Again, speed is of the essence here, isn't it?
Speed is of the essence. So let's talk about my Discord. If you'd like to join it, you can go onto my Twitch channel and type !Discord, and you too can be part of the Bren community. Brofist. There you go.
The Brenfist.
The Brenfist. Welcome to the Bren community. We do have other teams to talk about.
Can I just add before I end up leaving this that they made a roster called CIS hope, not to like
I want to
a term that's been used in esports for a long time. A term that actually has a meaning. CIS, generally refers to those.
State.
Yeah,
Is that
to
what it
those.
means?
Yeah, and it refers to, I think, not only it's like Russia, and then also
it's also like the ex-Soviet Union countries.
I just thought it was because none of the players were transgender.
Yeah, I thought that.
Is it not?
I thought it was really funny. No, there were a bunch of people that actually got mad about the team name because
really
did they really?
Because they didn't know it meant.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. Commonwealth Independent States, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that team's actually looks like it's going to be pretty decent as well. Sharik is a proven tank. They got unfixed on flex position. Kenzie and Chow are both good DPS players, I think. Although they've had poor performances recently in big teams. And Eng and Main have played on a lot of like decent Russian teams. I think they're in Slav Squad or Anox or something. And even though they're both... I think they've both played Lucio and Mercy at different times. I'm actually not sure which one of them is a flex support between the two of them. But they're just like kind of average support players. I think it's going to be a relatively good team. The Russian teams always seem to be fairly middling to above average. They never seem to be quite at the best. I think this is going to be another one of those cases. But Sharik Unfixed and Kenzie Chow have potential to have some kind of decent aggression.
I would agree.
Fairs. We're all in agreement then. This team's going to be winning contenders. Good
Absolutely,
chat,
that's what we said.
Give it to
do we
Bren,
want to go over the other teams? We got 3 minutes.
All right, let's have Harsha pick his favorite team, and then we'll call it quits.
Let's go with that rumored FNRGFE roster.
Okay, so let's talk about the names on that one then. This is a rumor that was leaked by an anonymous source straight to me and Josh, straight into our inboxes. God knows if it's the truth. He could have actually just typed these names into Discord, took a screenshot of it, and said, yeah, it's a leak. So, but apparently, FNRGFE trialing an NA and an EU team. They've got, on the NA one, Fact Fiction, Buds, Rolf Adams, Odds, and Zapri. On the EU side of it, they're trialing Grey, AYB, Krems, Denier, Tonic, and Kellar. Now, some of these names are apparently in these other teams. So, again, trials, I imagine they're going to be swapping in and out. Are they going to be picking up 2 teams? I doubt it. It's just going to be the one, most likely. They're picking up 2?
No, I meant, yeah, as in I doubt that's the...
Okay. You got to be... You're confusing my poor little brain.
Yeah, I think the advantage of FNRGFE as well is that they have a guaranteed spot in contenders, and there's only actually 4 normal teams that have spots in contenders. FaZe, FNRGFE, Rogue, and who's the other one? Envision have the other spot.
Yeah.
And then the rest are academy teams. And then there's only 1 spot for any brand new team that pops out of there. So, I mean, people like Kungana, Renegades, if they're even around. Are Renegades still alive?
They have nothing to do with Overwatch right now.
Right,
as far as I know, they're not even participating in any...
Kungana, like Midnight Marauders, the team that Faz made with Midnight and stuff.
Yeah.
These teams are just going to have to compete for 1 spot unless they join an academy team. So yeah. I think people are trying to trial for the ones that have guaranteed spots right now.
Yeah, and all these players seem like kind of guys that kind of like, why am I not an Overwatch sort of players, right? Because they're all known quantities. We're borderline on that level, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see if they actually do end up playing on this roster.
All right, there's 1 minute left. Because it's the end of 2017, I want you both to give me your best team, best player, and best match or tournament or whatever of 2017. Harsha,
I've got a better idea.
Go on then.
I was actually going to make an article about
a riddle.
What is in my pocket?
If you solve the riddle,
okay,
then I will pat you on the back.
Again,
person.
I mean, we're rushed for time, but riddles, definitely. Those are really
I
speedy,
fly without wings.
Okay.
And cry without eyes.
Okay.
What am I?
A baby that I've spooned the eyes out of and thrown it out a window.
Incorrect. Harsha?
Dude, I don't know. An airplane?
What the hell is
Oh, wait, no, they have wings. Helicopter.
Use your brains. What, does a helicopter cry?
Okay, all right. Time flies, but it doesn't cry. What flies and cries? I don't know, Bren. Why are we doing riddles?
Time's up. Let's go to Josh's riddle.
What do you mean? You want me to tell you a riddle? I don't know a riddle. What's it?
Drop me a riddle.
What goes up a chimney down, but will go down a chimney up?
Smoke.
Mate, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean? In what sense is smoke up or down?
Oh, I got my directions confused.
Santa Claus.
No, it's not Santa Claus. What, Santa Claus will go down a chimney when he's up on MD or something, but won't go up a chimney when he's feeling depressed? Is that your answer to this riddle?
Air currents.
It's an umbrella, mate. You can put it up a chimney when it's down, but you can't pull it down a chimney when it's up.
Oh.
It's an umbrella.
Harsha, what's your riddle?
I don't have a riddle.
Find one. Quickly.
Why are we doing riddles?
Search the banks in your brain.
End of 2017 riddle-a-thon.
All right. The maker doesn't want it.
The maker doesn't want it. It's a coffin.
The buyer doesn't use it.
Yeah,
it's a
coffin.
Well,
I've heard this one before.
Come on, you gotta. Right, what was your question, Josh? What was it? The best team of 2017.
Yeah.
Best player, best match.
Yeah. Go on then.
Okay,
Bro.
for me, best player of 2017. God Almighty. Oh, it's so hard.
Try one of the other easier ones, perhaps.
That's really difficult. Best team of 2017, Runaway. I'd probably say.
Okay.
In terms of the storyline, in terms of the games,
finished second in 2 Apex seasons.
And yeah, I'd say the best game of Apex would be Season 2 Finals. Apex Runaway versus Lunatic High.
I'm going to have a very controversial take, but I'd say the best team's Lunatic High. Best player, probably.
No. Wait,
probably.
You think the team that won 2 Apex is better than the team that came second in 2 Apex?
I would say the best player has probably been Jaehong this year, and the best tournament I would say is Apex Season 3 Finals. Or tournament, yeah. Apex Season 3.
Yeah, I agree with you, but to give a different answer, I'm going to go for the Western people then. So if I was doing the same one in the West...
You chill.
I mean, I would have literally just said the same thing as you. So, the best team in the West in 2017, I think was... when did Envious get Effect? That was actually like in April or something, wasn't it?
May.
They were playing in...
Yeah, it was Apex Season 3.
Yeah, and they looked poorer before that, poorer than Rogue. I think it's between Rogue and Envious. I think it may even be Rogue, actually, overall.
Really?
I'm not sure. They definitely looked superb towards the beginning of the season. They won Takeover after that as well. Came back, they looked like they were kind of even. Maybe it's Envious. I can't remember what they were doing at the beginning of 2017. What were
Envy was in Apex Season 2. They were getting
who were they playing with?
They had Internet Hulk.
Oh, yeah, they still had Internet Hulk at that period of time. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Rogue as the best Western team of 2017. And then what was the other thing? The best player, the best Western player.
Does Effect count?
Yeah, I know. I was literally going to say Effect, but I don't think that does count actually. Who else? AKM, I'm going to say, is the best Western player of 2017, having given it 3 seconds thought. And the best match in the West. What lands did we have in the West? Oh, we had the Contenders,
the one you were casting, or I mean, on the analyst cast.
The Contenders final between Misfits and Gigantti was pretty decent, but I don't think it was the best. Honestly, one of the online matches between Rogue and Selfless might have been one of the most entertaining matches. Although I wouldn't be able to give you an individual one. I think like 3 different one of them ended.
There's one that came down to like a Roadhog right click that it was because like the final mouse was too sensitive or something like that.
Yeah, that one was crazy. I think all of the big LAN tournaments, the Contenders games, and then Takeover as well, had very one-sided matches. None of them had like incredible, tense narratives or went into a really big finals match. So I think I probably would say actually just an online game between Rogue and Selfless. Those would be
my player to finalize it. I've given it some thought now.
Sure.
I'm gonna say Toby.
Toby.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's a very reasonable choice, I think.
I agree.
I'm gonna say Toby. That's a super hard question though.
It is, yeah.
Ryu Jae-hong is also a
it's hard to divorce them of each other.
Yeah.
They are an incredible duo.
Yeah. My alternative to it would have been, if I was thinking Western players, was actually going to be Big Goose.
Big Goose. Yeah, the thing with that is Big Goose was just sat like lolling around in some dribble finish team
for the first half of 2017. Yeah. That's the issue with it.
All right, Harsha's getting rung on Skype by his boss. He needs to run away.
We've got to piece it. We've got to end it.
All right, that's the shortest episode by about half as well. So that's
ridiculous.
That's how we're ending 2017. Don't worry, 2018 is going to be big. It's the year of the grapevine. But for now, peace.
Thank you.